Hello and welcome to the Behind the Stream podcast. In this series, I talk to streamers of all sizes about their stream, their offline content, their growth strategies, and much, much more. In this episode, I talked to a streamer that goes by the name Alexander Average, who has recently swapped games from Warzone to Tarkov and has seen some really, really strong growth. And it's so great to see because I know how much this guy wants it. And I'm hoping through the conversation that we had, you can really see his passion for wanting to quit his 9 to 5 and be a full-time content creator. There's some really, really insightful things in here that I think a lot of people will relate to. I hope you enjoy the episode. If you do, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. And if you don't, I'd love to hear one in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Alexander Average, welcome to the Behind the Stream podcast. It's really glad to have you on, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me, mate. It's going to be good. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I see you've just got your sneak drink there.
I've got my sneak, mate.
Have you?
Got my sneak drink.
What flavor is it?
We've gone for raspberry lemonade today. It's one of of the new ones I got, and it's a favourite for sure.
What else is your favourite?
I like electric mango, which is their newest one.
Nice.
Blue raspberry's nice as well. Blue raspberry's very good.
What have you been up to today, this week? Anything exciting?
This week has probably been the craziest week I've had in terms of streaming. So that was amazing.
Why was that?
Highest average numbers, like highest average viewers, highest subs. Just good all-round gameplay for me, which doesn't usually happen, which is all right. But yeah, so we did that, and then today and tomorrow I'm off. But we went out and had a lunch today. Me and Miss Average went out and had a lunch. Nice little meal. And a new place opened up in Bath.
What did you have?
I had a pizza.
You had a pizza?
Yes, I had a spicy. I don't know how you say it. It's like nduja sausage, like the spicy Italian sausage. I had that, which was delicious. And then we had these little Parmesan croquettes to start, which were incredible. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Nice.
How about you? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've had a long week at work, mate.
Yeah.
Work's been very busy. Yeah, for me this week. Yeah, I was actually in Hamburg last week. I went away with work. They have an office there. Twitch Hammers an office. And yeah, I mainly work with the German team. So
Nice.
it's my first time out there, meeting a few of my colleagues for the first time. And I actually loved Hamburg. It was sick. I haven't been to Germany for a very long time, and I've always wanted to go back there. And the Hamburg culture, people, life seems all right. It seems all right. I'm tempted to move there.
Wow.
I'm tempted to move there. We shall see. So let's get straight into it. Every podcast, I'm basically going to start the same. I'm happy with it, and that is really just to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself as a streamer, like your brand. Be great to hear just a story of where you started, like why you started streaming, and kind of any notable things or changes or points in like your journey, basically leading up to today, and anything else you wanna chuck in there.
Okay. Well, brace yourself because this could go on for a while.
That's okay. We got time.
I started streaming in June 2020, so I've been doing it for just over 2 years now. And I started under the pseudonym of Just Your Average Gamer, which was just your AVG, and then gamer was GAM3R. And I was all had these esports logos, like I was all stern-faced and looking away from the camera and this, that, and the other. And then I just realized it didn't really reflect what I was doing. But we'll get to that anyway. But so yeah, basically, I was very naive to the whole streaming thing. I basically started playing Warzone in lockdown, because, like everyone did. So Call of Duty Warzone was a huge staple for me within lockdown.
Yeah.
I started playing it, and one of my buddies was like, "Do you know who Tim the Tatman is, or do you know who Nick Merckx is?" And I was like, "Never heard of him. Like no idea." And bearing in mind, June 2020, I was 29, so I'm not young, but I'm not old. You know what I mean? Like for video gaming and things like that. So I was like, but I've always been into video gaming as a kid and things like that, and I've grew up on it. So I was 29 years old, and he was like, "Do you know Tim the Tatman or Nick Merckx?" So I was like, no idea. So I sort of looked into them, find out they're similar ages, if not the same age as me, and I was like, this looks really fun, like what they're doing. And I didn't really get the concept of it. I didn't really know what streaming was or how it worked or anything like that. And I spoke to one of my buddies about it, and he sort of taught me through it and showed me sort of what you can use and software and this, that, and the other. And then it sort of just went on from there. But I was completely naive to it. I thought it would be a way to bring my like friends from school or whatever, like in real life friends, to just sort of hang out and play games. And I thought it'd be them like watching me or whatever.
Yeah.
I absolutely did not expect it to be what it's turned out to be in any way, shape, or form. But it's crazy. So I've started on Warzone, and then I flip-flap with variety stuff, trying to find what my niche was really.
Yeah.
And what worked best for me in the early days. And then going into my first sort of full year, so June 21, I'd say I was a Warzone main at that point. So I was playing, that was my main game. Didn't really deviate from it much, unless I did like a 24-hour stream or something like that, you know, like something silly where you just spice it up a bit. And then just recently, about 3-4 months ago maybe, I switched games to Escape from Tarkov.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, since then, everything's just gone mad. It's gone mad. And that's, without me rambling on for hours, that's basically the journey. So sort of start 2 years of, or like 18 months of variety and Warzone. I can't remember when I changed my name to Alexander Average, but the reason I changed it was because I just wanted something that sounded a little bit better.
Yeah.
And like I say, I was naive to it, so I didn't really know what would work well, what other people were called, what things would look like written down, and logos and all this, like the whole marketing and everything behind it. You're like a personality and a brand and stuff. I just thought it was Alexander Average sounded a bit better, so we went for that. And yeah, I say it's probably about a year into it, and then we've just moved on and just grown from there, and it's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Have you always been a gamer?
Yes. Yeah. So when I was really young, so
you can. I'm 1 year. I'm 28, so I'm sure we maybe have some similarities in gaming history.
Yeah, it's good. Like I grew up with my uncle was sort of like my father figure growing up, and he would sort of like, me and my brother would go and stay with him, and every weekend he'd rent like a new PlayStation game or something, and we just play through that and stuff. It was, and then since then, whenever we was like old enough to get our own consoles, we were like, yeah.
Where do you rent it from? Like Blockbuster or somewhere?
There was I can't remember. I think there was a place called Enterprise near me, in like my local town where I grew up.
I used to get money from Blockbuster, or the library used to do like a library that was near me used to like PS2 games.
I think a library did used to do them.
Just these games on one of those little spinny racks, like just in the middle, so random. It's like £2.50 or something like that.
It was amazing. I used to live for that. It was amazing.
And so you said you recently switched to Tarkov. How's that been in terms of learning that game? Because I've heard I'm not playing it myself, but I've heard it's a bit of a steep learning curve, and just wondering how you found that.
It is a very steep learning curve, and for any advice for anyone trying to stream it, I would say maybe try and learn the game before doing so. I was very lucky that I've got some friends that sort of could show me the ropes, and I think because I wasn't of that sort of presence where it didn't affect me too much, like changing game.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely like a drop off and stuff in terms of the popularity from Call of Duty moving to something new. But I think obviously I would say just stick to it, and just it's a time sink. You need to put time into it. It's not like a pick up and play. So you need to invest a lot of time into it, which is what I did, which is why I stuck with it as a main game. But I think learning it and actually embedding in the community and going forward that way, it's been amazing. Like the whole experience has been incredible.
What do you enjoy about the game?
Just the fact that it's all or nothing, basically. So if you don't know a lot about Escape from Tarkov, it's basically like I think the way they describe it on Wikipedia is like a hardcore military shooter simulator sort of thing. And you can go in and you can find loot, you have to do quests, but basically whenever you die, everything that's on your person is gone. You lose it.
Okay.
So it's like that is every game is high risk. Every raid you go into is high risk. and the risk and reward and stuff. Every gunfight you get into feels like a final. The way I'd compare it, like every engagement on Tarkov feels like a final circle on Warzone.
Okay.
That's the way I'd compare it.
Do you have somewhere where you can store all of your loot, like before the raids? Like you do, yeah. Like you have like
you do. So yeah, you've got your stash back on like your main screen. So you do have a big stash, and then that's where you've got all of your kit, and then whatever is in there is safe. But then whatever you take out there and equip, that's what you're at risk of losing. You can insure items, and then if they're not taken by someone else, you can get them back in like a few days' time, like real days. So they'll just come back in. You'll get like a message on the game, and it'll say, "Oh, our insurance team found this, blah blah blah," and you can get it back, which is quite cool.
Okay. And I've seen you mention like wipe days. Is that just where you just lose everything and the game starts again, basically?
Yeah. So this is my first full wipe on Escape from Tarkov. So there's people that have got thousands and thousands of hours in it. I've got about 400 hours, I think, which is a lot. I think that's quite it's still quite a lot. And I still know nothing compared to some people. But a wipe happens sort of, I think it's once every 6 to 8 months. And they basically just reset everything off of the game. So everyone starts again from the same level. Everyone starts level 0. Everyone's got the same task to do. Because basically, as you progress through the game, you can get better weapons, better ammo. So as if someone new starts, say 2 years, say the game didn't wipe for 2 years, if someone new starts, you don't stand the chance if you see any player, because you've got all the crappy ammo and whatever, and they've all got the Chad gear. So yeah, it's just to basically level the playing field again and start from scratch.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. I've seen a few games do that. I know Rust do that. That's what my flatmate plays. Changing. Let's talk about this kind of changing game. And like, have you found your stream, the way that your stream content is different in terms of, like, I'm talking about in terms of like Warzone is a different type of gameplay. It's faster paced, right? Like compared to Tarkov. Like, have you found that you've taken a bit of time to kind of adapt to a new game in terms of the way that you stream the game, in terms of your interactions, like etc., like things like that?
There's definitely been a change, and like I say, in the first few weeks, maybe months of it, you notice chat being slower and things like that.
Yeah,
but in terms of actual game engagements and the way you portray yourself while you're playing it, Warzone is so fast paced. There's not really a lot of dead air to fill. Whereas on Tarkov there can be, because you could be sort of sat in a room like a deer in headlights sort of thing, waiting for something to happen because you're scared of losing all your stuff.
Yeah.
But because the game is you're so engrossed in it, and I think chat are as well. I think it's an entirely different experience for chat as well as the streamer. Okay. It's almost like watching a movie. Whereas with Warzone, it'd be like, oh, nice kill. Oh, that's a clip. Oh, you killed that team or whatever. You know. Whereas with Tarkov, it's literally like, what is going to happen next? And I think you understand that as the streamer, but I think chat also understand that as the viewers. Like the Tarkov community are very sort of sit back and watch and take it in, and then when it happens, they'll be like, oh my god, that was crazy, or it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely different from Warzone, but I don't, because of how gripping the game is and stuff, it doesn't feel like too much of it is a forced change, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Did it take you a little bit of time to get used to then the chat being, to see that, like the chat being quieter? And I mean, you must have maybe thought at times like, why is nobody talking? I don't know. The chat engagement is different than Warzone, and maybe you had some thoughts of, you're not doing something right, people aren't enjoying it. You don't know whether people are liking what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly that. And it is tough to deal with, because I know a lot of people are probably the same as me, but I wouldn't say I take things personally, but I am aware. So like you say, you do notice those things, and the thoughts do run through your mind, like sort of. But then obviously when you go and, like I said, I've embedded myself into the Tarkov community now, and I've got friends that play it, and I watch a lot more of it now, because I didn't watch any of it 6 months ago. Didn't even know what it was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And now I watch more of it. You see a lot of it, unless you're in someone like Landmark's chat or Mr. Gibbons' chat or somewhere. It's just going like constant. But even then, that's the balance, because it can either be not moving because everyone's so gripped and you're not saying anything responding to it because there's nothing to respond to, or there can be so much going on that you just have to blank that out and just stay in the game anyway. Yeah,
it makes sense. So have you found that, like, what's been the kind of the trade-off with you changing in terms of your community? Like, how has the feedback been from maybe some of you would see as maybe the more loyal members of the community who are kind of maybe diehard Warzone? Like, how have they now also maybe tried Tarkov, because you're now playing Tarkov? Like, how has that been in terms of feedback?
Yeah, it's been really good. Like you say, the loyal ones that were there from the off, and when I was playing Warzone all the time, have stuck with me through thick and thin. They'll come through with anything, and I'm so grateful for that. But there's even sort of people trickling back in now that left because you get people like be playing Tarkov, they come in and say, "Oh, what are you playing today?" And they say, "Oh, I'm playing Escape from Tarkov today." All right, bye then.
Yeah,
and it's "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
But they'll then come back in 4 to 6 weeks later, or however long it is, be like, "Oh, what game's this? I'm fed up of Warzone."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, right, okay, yeah." But yeah, it's like I said, you notice a drop off, and you notice some people that are just there to watch Warzone and things like that. But to be fair, a lot of people just stuck with me and came through, and they were like, "We'll try this together," because I was still very new to it as well. So it wasn't like, "Oh, this is a game Alex has put thousands of hours into and he's just deciding to change and chat don't know anything." It was like we grew with it together, which was it was really quite nice.
Yeah, so it's like they, like you said, they've been on a journey with you in learning a new game, which can, I guess, be quite exciting to watch sometimes when you kind of go through different achievements of doing stuff within the game. Anything that's like been like that's happened whilst you play Tarkov that's just been like that's in your head? Like, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, but like any moments within the game or any certain streams where like just shit just popped off?
As in a good way?
In any way.
Mate, literally this week, like this is the thing. When I was playing Warzone, like, don't get me wrong, I had good days, but they were, I don't know whether this was because it was Warzone or whether because I hadn't experienced the sort of growth that I'm at now. But you'd have good days. There's always good and bad days, but like you'd have good days on Warzone. But with Tarkov, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the community, whether it's just the suspense of the game, and people are just like, "Oh my god!" But this week, the amount of gifted subs that have been thrown around is almost criminal. Like, it's crazy, and people are just so chuffed to see something go well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's so hard to, like, if I was to wear a heart rate monitor on stream, my heart rate would, honestly, chat would see that and they'd be like, "Oh my god," how, and that would probably make them feel even more tense than they already do. But like, I killed a player on there the other day, literally just one player, and then somebody, his name's Tex, absolute legend, shout out to Tex, but he just gifted 25 subs, and I was just like, what? It's crazy. The Tarkov community are crazy.
Are lots of those people who are they like diehard Tarkov people then? Do you think like there are like, or you're not really sure?
No, I'm not really sure.
I guess
because it's often the quiet ones. The quiet ones are the ones that sort of just come in and just go bang, like something happened. This is amazing. But yeah, there are a few diehard fans in there, and I've put, because you can obviously select the tags that you use for the games or whatever your stream is, and I've put backseat gaming allowed just because I need all the help I can get while I'm still learning it. So there are loads of people that come in and say, "Use this ammo, do this, here's where you need to go."
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I honestly, I'm still so new into the whole Tarkov thing. Like I say, I've been maining it for about 3 months, and it's better than I ever could have imagined. It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
I've been quietly following in the background and seeing the numbers and growth and your tweets and so on and so forth, and it's been really great to see, because I know that this is what you want to do, and I know that I think Warzone as a game has hit a little bit of a low, I think, from people that play it casually to people that play it seriously to people that stream it. What do you think about Warzone 2 then next year? And what would you be persuaded to play it? Like, is that going to throw a spanner? Like,
I honestly don't think it's going to throw a spanner, and the reason is I'll try it.
Yeah,
I'll definitely try it, just because I did really enjoy Warzone, and am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
People shit on it like a lot, you know, and so I'm not one of those guys who's like, "I've stopped playing Warzone, so all of you should stop playing Warzone." And there's still content creators that I watch that play Warzone, and they're bloody good at it. You know, like I'll still watch it, but there are only certain people I can watch, and I think I'll definitely try Warzone 2 because when it, like, back in the Verdansk days, I loved it. Because again, I didn't play Warzone until it was a year old.
Yeah.
Because it came out like a year before COVID and stuff happened. I didn't even play Warzone until it was a year old. So I still feel like I didn't get, I kind of feel like, not, I don't think a jilted X is the right term, but I kind of feel like I didn't get long enough with Verdansk, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas everyone else had much longer and I didn't get long enough. But, and then Caldera came out, and that for me, I was just like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And then I moved over to Rebirth and I played that a lot, and I was just like, it's just the same thing over and over again. Whereas people will probably say, oh, Tarkov's the same thing over and over. But you can go into Tarkov and every single raid can be different. You can meet different people. There's different routes you have to take and this, that, and the other. Whereas the sole aim of the game in Warzone is to go in and just be the last man standing. But I would definitely give Warzone 2 a go for sure. But if anything, I'm kind of holding out hope that a lot of people that have moved over to Tarkov casually because they're so fed up of Warzone will go, right, see you later, back on Warzone, which then opens up more space in Tarkov for me. That's what I'm hoping, because I honestly can't see myself going to Warzone 2 and just falling in love with it as much as I did Tarkov.
Yeah, I think a lot of people got that question in their head. Can they... I watched a TikTok the other day actually kind of saying that there's just Warzone 2 just can't compete with Verdansk because of the time and the period of which it came out being like COVID lockdown, like that's just people just connected with that game and map because it was just the way that they played. It got to kind of talk to their friends and stuff, and like and that euphoria, like how can that be replicated with a new game? Like, and I think I kind of agree with that. So I'm really interested to see what they bring to the table, because it's going to have to be a lot, I think. In terms of so Warzone doesn't require much planning when you play Warzone. So now when you're playing Tarkov on stream, how are you deciding what to do? It seems as though there's quite a lot you can do, but you kind of have to commit to what you're doing. And so talk me through, like, are you deciding before stream? Are you deciding at the start of stream with chat? Like, how does that work in terms of essentially planning the raid for the stream? Because I'm aware that they're quite long, aren't they? So like, how does that working at the moment? And is there anything you'd like to do more or change in terms of that?
I think at the moment I'm trying to plan as best I can, but I'm still not of the ability yet in Tarkov where I can go and like hunt PvP or chase players down or things like that. There's still more I need to learn. There's so much more, but you're always sort of guided by what tasks you have active.
Yeah. So
there are certain maps you have to play on to get these quests done, or there's certain people you have to kill, or certain things you have to find. So for about a week, I had to find a graphics card on there for one of my quests. I had to find one more graphics card.
You couldn't find one, could you?
Oh my god, I could not find one for love nor money. And then like buses, they just come along, and it's just like, oh. And then like the other day, I streamed for 6 hours. I had to kill 12 scavs on a certain map called Lighthouse up by the chalet area. So basically, I spent the whole stream spawning into that map, running up to that area, and then just getting killed by other players or bosses that don't usually. And I was like, oh my god. And then right the very last raid, I killed 8 of them in one go, and it's just like, it's just ridiculous. So there's some things you can plan for and some things you can't, but that is sort of the lore of it as well, is that people are in chat, especially if they've been there from the start. They're like, right, this is the one, and then when it does, they're like, oh no, like, do you know what I mean? It helps build a story for the stream, as well as just, it's as frustrating as it is for me, it helps build a story for that. But like at the moment, in terms of planning it, I am sort of more dictated by what I have to do in the game to progress. And then if I'm low on content, or if I feel like I haven't posted like a decent TikTok or something in a while, I'll just try and run sort of more relaxed games and just be like, right, I'm just going to try and meet people today, not really care about what guns I use, what gear I lose, or anything like that. So there is an element of planning to it, but I think there's still so much more for me to learn. I'm looking forward to learning more and being able to be like, right, this is what we're doing today. This is the sort of game mode we're going to do, and things like that. Because towards the end of last wipe, because everyone already had loads of money, they already had the best stuff, you did a thing called viewer kits. You could basically go live and say, right, I'm doing viewer kits all day, and then people could queue up in your chat or whatever, and they'll join into a raid with you, and they bring you a kit so they can put a gun, a helmet, armor, whatever in a bag, come in, throw it on the floor, you bop them in the head, take their dog tag, and then just run with the kit they brought in.
Okay.
So that's a really cool concept,
Nice.
but because a lot of people are still trying to progress in the game, they're a bit more reluctant to give stuff away. But I had a lot of fun doing that. So yeah, it's just finding things to do and spiced up like you do. There's all sorts like 0 to hero where you go in with just a pistol and then you just try and build your way up by killing people and taking what they've got and things like that. But yeah, like you say, the Warzone, you just turn it on and just play.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Tarkov is, although it's not a story-based game, you can make a lot more of a story from it. And I think you do have to get that right, because it can be a bit monotonous. I think even for the player, let alone the viewer, if you just go in with no sort of plan at all, then it just sort of be like, right, okay, what's he doing then? You're just running around aimlessly for a map, waiting for stuff to happen.
How do you deal with the frustration then? Like, how do you said the other day, like, you just looking for the GPU, or you're keep not achieving what you're wanting to achieve, like, and does that affect you on stream? Like, how are you dealing with that yourself to kind of, I don't know, you feel like I don't know if you feel like you've let the stream down, or like you just want to do it, like, to get to that point where everyone's like, fucking yes, come on, like, just wondering, like, how does that plan out? Like, how do you deal with that?
A lot of my chat are trolls, so if anything, it works in my favor, to be honest, because they love it. But yeah, you do get visibly, and like, for example, my normal stream time is from midday till like 6 p.m. now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I look at the time and I'm looking, it's at like 4:30, I'm like, right, I'll take a breather, I'll go and grab a drink, and I'm like, let's just think of something fun to do for the last hour and a half. And then chat come up, they just list it in, and they're like, let's do 0 to hero, let's do scab to chat, let's do viewer kits, let's do whatever. So they're really good at helping. And I'm literally just, if it gets to that point, rather than just sort of sitting there going, oh my God, I'm so angry, I don't know, I can't keep doing this, I literally just say to them, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to do? Because it's to entertain them. So whatever they want to see, I'm down with. If I know I'm not going to get something done, and I'm like, there is no point of trying anymore, I'm past the point of caring, I'm going to get so pissed off, what do you guys want to do? And we'll just do that. That's the way I deal with it anyway.
Yeah. Have you always been kind of a, like, and is that your dinner?
She's just put some dinner in, yeah. A great big halloumi burger, so.
Oh, nice.
Try not to wolf it down on here.
Have you, like, always been seen yourself as like a showman, entertainer? Like, when you first started streaming, like, how have you changed from there to like now? Like, have you, like, just talk through that. Like,
it's unbelievable. I think the strange thing is, I did theatre studies all throughout school, so I did drama and theatre studies, GCSE and A level. So I've always been, so I've always been a bit of a showman or a bit theatrical or whatever. But when that translates from like stage to camera, especially like when you don't know who's watching it. For example, if you're on a TV show or if you're in a film, you know who's going to be watching it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be in a cinema or something like that. But this is just something that somebody could stumble upon, especially when it's all new. And it was so odd. I didn't really know how to behave, what to do, where to look. But and if I even watching back through my old TikToks, you see the intros, I'm all shelled up and I'm like, oh, hey guys, like really quiet. Whereas now I'm like, oh my God, like, you just, I think you just learn to be yourself a lot more. And I'm definitely an advocate for it, but for like with like mental health and things like that, because I just feel like it's the best way. People come into my chat now and they're like, oh, I'm starting streaming, have you got any tips for me? The very first thing I say to them is just be yourself. Because you get people that try, not necessarily even try to be something they're not, but try to hide certain aspects or try and be a bit more reserved until something happens or whatever. Just be yourself. Because otherwise, if people like you for who you are and then you evolve into like the real you, it's not really going to work. But like you said, you're going to start more reserved and shy naturally, but you still always need to keep like your sense of humor and things like that. Like, I've always, if I watch back through all my old stuff, I've still got the same jokes. I was playing with the same people. They're just on a bit larger scale now, you know, because you're playing up to more people. But it's the change is night and day.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I always think about that in terms of sustainability for the streamer themselves. Like, if you're putting on something or being someone that you're completely not, how long can you keep that up for? I've always thought about that in my head. Like this is what I think people want, but is that something that I can continue to want to do? Like, I think that is the challenge that I think a lot of streamers face, and it probably leads to burnout and people stopping streaming because they're like, I can't do this anymore. I don't have this energy to be this person that I'm not. And like you said, if you do that and then you then start becoming the person that you actually are, people are like, oh, well, you're not the person that I kind of would kind of fell in love with and started watching. This is the real you. And maybe they don't like the real you, but maybe it was better to just begin with the real you and just accept it. And if you do well, you do well. If you don't, you don't.
Absolutely.
In terms of, I've lost my train of thought. You've got me. This is the first time I've lost my train of thought. I had the question. I had the question in my head. Is that dinner?
Should I eat it? Will that trigger
go
anything?
On, eat it. Have a bite. Have a bite. Well, I was thinking.
Oh god, mate, this is going to go everywhere. It's going to be all over my beard now, and on my white t-shirt.
Oh no! Don't get it on the t-shirt. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. I got it. See how
god. Right.
I was going to ask. Right. This is an on-spot question. Why do you think people keep coming back to watch you stream?
Ooh. This is the I've never been really good with self-confidence either, which is strange because, like I said, from a theatrical background, people seem to think, oh, he's so confident, like he exudes confidence or whatever. But that's not all been the case with me. So it's hard to sell myself in like a positive way. But I guess it is just because I am just myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Like a lot of people, I see loads of people saying, oh, the grind doesn't stop, or, oh, you're grinding really hard. And that to me, that sounds wrong. It isn't a grind, because if a grind to me feels like, oh, I've got to get this done. Whereas that means you're not enjoying it. I am obsessed with it. My missus will tell you, I am obsessed with it. And like, I think they see that and they know that. Like I say, I hit the go live button, and when I do it, I'd be doing exactly the same thing whether I was pressing that button or not, you know? Like, and I think they gravitate towards that because it's normal and it's authentic.
Is that where kind of your name kind of comes from, Alexander Average? Like, what inspired that?
That's it. Because, like I said, I started as just your average gamer.
Yeah.
Because that's all I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to sell myself as like some sort of cracked esports pro or anything like that. I always wanted to sort of. When I learned more about it, I always sort of wanted to be like, you can show that like normal, average people can do this as well. And then obviously the name changed to Alexander Average just because I think it sounded a bit better. And I wanted to rebrand because I had all these serious like photos and things, and I was like, that doesn't go with the name.
Where can I find one of those?
I might have to try and send you one that you can pop on the screen. I'm pretty sure I've got the asset, so I can send you one and you can put it on the screen to show them. Remind me, I will definitely do it. But yeah, so I think, and then, yeah, just because obviously my name is Alex, and again, that's more personal. If people know your name, that's a lot more personal, and people wanted to keep averaging it, because I would go through my chat and say, look, guys, I'm thinking of changing the name. What do you reckon works? And it's just taking ideas from them, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's all for them. It's what they enjoy, it's what they like, and that was the thinking behind it. Maple, go away. Sorry, my dog's trying to get my dinner. Babes,
that's all right.
No. I was left the door open, it wouldn't shut. Sorry. Yeah, so basically, yeah, the name is personal, and I still kept that sort of average identity, you know? So people used to call me Average before, they'll still call me Average now, but now they'll call me Alex as well.
That makes sense.
It's just that more personal level.
Yeah, I love that analogy you just gave of like the streaming kind of ecosystem of like cracked gaming. Like I feel like when maybe you started streaming like a couple of years ago, that was what everyone thought to do, was like, that's what you need to build your brand off. You need to build yourself as this cracked Warzone player or cracked FPS player. And then I think now people have realized that is just that sort of brand, and and type of streaming is really fading. I think it's interesting, and now it's all just about, I think, personality and entertainment. I think they're the most important things. Whereas like, I don't think I always used to watch streams and think, oh yeah, like I need to be good. Like people aren't going to watch me unless I'm really good at a game. And you used to get people that didn't watch you because you're really good at the game. But I actually think now the amongst the viewers on Twitch, people are now like coming to like understand. Actually, you can have more fun watching people that are just like being Alexander Average. You know, like just kind of relatability, authenticity, and just that like level of like rawness, really, which I think that is something that you probably try and strive for on your stream, so that people see you for who you are. Let's talk about let's move to content, right? And interested to know, like, what's been the most challenging thing playing a new game and creating content, like?
If anything, I think I was more challenged with the Warzone stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm not amazing at the game. I'm not terrible, but I'm average. But like, there's only so many videos that there's only so many people that can put out reputable loadout videos or high kill game videos, or because it's just all of that sort of content is the same. It's just got a different person's face on it.
Yeah. Whereas
with Tarkov, and I don't know whether you know him or not, but Mr. Gibbon, for me,
I've been trying.
He's the reason
I'm trying to get him on. I'm trying to get him.
He's the reason I play Escape from Tarkov. Basically, I met him months and months and months ago. He actually raided my stream. I think when Splitgate was like in its peak.
I know Bash out. Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, so we were playing some Splitgate, I think, and he came in. And then obviously checked him out afterwards and went and hung out with him. And he was a Warzone main. He'd play Warzone, Splitgate, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think he'd played Tarkov in the past. So he was like, I've always really liked that. I'm going to go back to it. And then just seeing the way he played it and stuff like that. And I was like, because I never used to, or if I did used to watch it, I'd just be like, what's going on? Because I didn't know. And unless you know Tarkov, unless you know what's going on, you won't know what's going on, if that makes sense. Like Warzone, you can watch it and within 5 minutes you'll go, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Whereas with Tarkov, you'll be like, it just looks like Tetris sometimes. Like, I don't get it. People call it Tetris Simulator because you're moving stuff in your stash and that around and you don't really know. But like, and because his growth, his rise has been meteoric, like, and is fully deserved. But I was lucky enough to be there from the start and to sort of hang out with him and learn the game through him, and when he could respond to his chat and stuff, and he'd be like, this is what this is, blah, 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 blah. And I'm actually really good friends with him. Like, I've never met the guy in real life, but I've become real good friends with him through streaming, which is, again, something I never thought would happen. But obviously, we'll touch on that later. But yeah, so I was very lucky to go through that. And then, obviously, a lot of my inspiration comes from him. He was the first person I saw doing it. His first Tarkov stuff I saw was more sort of breaking down his plays and where he was in the map and how he was positioned and what was going down. But I sort of took the idea, because I'm not as good at the game as he is, and again, like, I'm not like this, oh my god, I killed this many people, yada yada yada. The VoIP that they added to it, that's only recent. So they've added this like proximity chat to Tarkov only recently, I think.
What's that? Oh, proximity chat.
Yeah,
okay.
Proximity chat. Yeah, so like, obviously, if you get near someone, you can order push to talk button and be like, oh hey buddy, and you can talk to whoever you bump into in game.
Yeah. You get good content from that. Yeah,
that is solely what my content is. And obviously Gib does that as well, and that's where I took my inspiration from. But so for me, it's been a lot easier because I feel that is a lot more about who I am. I am someone that likes talking to people. I like socializing. I like having a laugh. I like comedy. Whereas trying to do a Warzone video or a breakdown or whatever, I did stuff like that in the past. I sort of learned from that, but it just didn't fit. Yeah. And I really feel like the jump to Tarkov, I feel like I found not my niche because there are other people doing it, but I found my lane, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I'm definitely in a better position now than I was doing the Warzone stuff. So in terms of content, I've only seen growth and like positive feedback really since the jump.
And what sort of content are you? You said you're kind of doing the proximity chat content. Is that like? that's very dependent on what happens in stream, right? I guess it's different than Warzone, where you could maybe do like pre-planned content or like do loadout stuff and this, that, and the other. So, is your content predominantly like reactive stuff now? Like something happen on stream and you'll clip that up, or do you have an idea before stream and think I could do that? That could create some good content.
At the moment, it's very much reactive. Like you say, it's assessing what's happening around you and thinking, oh, okay, this could be good here. And sort of every Tarkov raid I go into, I hit the record button. I record them all separately, and if it's good, I'll rename it, drag it onto memory stick, and chuck it on the Mac, and just try and chop it up.
Yeah.
But now I know more about the game and the sort of scenarios that can unfold, or where you can find certain things or whatever. I can start to build more sort of planned stuff, not scripted stuff, but you can go in with an idea of like, right, I want to find somebody who will do this with me today or something. Do you know what I mean? Because you can never really, unless you're playing with a buddy, you can never really control what someone's going to say or do. But you can always have, you can create like a storyboard and have an idea. Yeah. So I think now I've learned the maps a lot more and things like that. I can go in with an idea of saying like, look, I'm going to go in with the goal of trying to help someone do this today, or help someone find this today or something. So it at the moment, it's still sort of, or it has been reactive just to people I've met and just what's happened. But yeah, going forward, I think to change it up and add some variety, I'm going to have to start thinking outside the box and be like, right, okay, now I know a bit more and a bit more confident and carry myself a bit better in the field. I can do X, Y, Z.
Do you feel pressure then when you stream if you don't, as the stream goes on, is it in the back of your mind that you haven't got a good clip or content? Like how does that work like for you? Because I know that I always see people, I need a good game, I need a good Warzone, you need a good clip. That does that play on your mind when you're on stream?
It does. Not to the extent that it used to, just because, like, again, I keep saying with Warzone, keep using Warzone as an example, but it's good to show the difference. But with Warzone, if you don't get a high kill game, you haven't got content. If you don't get a good clip, like if you don't get a team kill or a team wipe with a certain gun or whatever, you haven't got content. Whereas with Tarkov, you can either have a day where every raid is amazing, but then you have a day where nothing happens. But because I've been lucky enough to have that sort of balance of a lot happening on one day, I can get, on a good day, I could get maybe 5 to 8 TikToks out of that.
Nice. Okay.
And then what I'll do is I'll edit them up in the morning. I'll do most of my editing before I go on. So I'll edit from like when I wake up till 11:30, and then I'll stream from 12. And I've got stuff in my drafts at the moment. I've got stuff that I've like scrubbed together on the timeline, but not subtitled or cut fully and things like that. So there's always something there. And I think it's good. Like I used to work to the way that I'd make a clip, post it, see how it did, and then be like, oh shit, I got to do another one. I got to get more content. Whereas the cogs are always turning now, the wheels are always in motion. So I've always got something there.
Yeah.
And I'd always, because I tried to be consistent on TikTok, but I'd never post only leaving sort of like one video, because then I think, oh God, if nothing happens. So at the moment, I think I've got 5 videos in there. And I've got 5 videos in there. I've probably got 5 or 6 that I could make, maybe more. And then obviously the more you stream, the more consistent you can be with the streaming, then the more content you're likely to build up from that. So there's always something rolling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. What does consistency look like on TikTok for you? What does that defined as?
A couple, 2 to 3 videos a week, maybe. Okay. I try to post before I go live, but not every day. So if I go live 4 days a week, say I go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll post one Monday and maybe one Thursday or Friday, depending on how the one on Monday did. So if the one on Monday's pushing through to like the millions, I'll post one Friday. Whereas if the one on Monday's like 10, 20K, I'll post one Thursday. Sort of thing like that. And then if I know I'm going away, for example, I went away to Greece and then I went away again to Devon for a week both times, I made sure I had 4 or 5 videos in the draft. And I didn't want to pump it out too quick while I wasn't able to make more.
Yeah.
So I'd post like one in the middle of each week, just to sort of keep eyes on it and keep the traction going.
Did you find that difficult? Do you find that difficult? Like having lots there and stopping yourself from wanting to post them?
Yeah, very. Because like, especially when a video does well. So if you see one do well, you think, oh, I could jump on the back of that. But TikTok's, I don't think anyone knows the algorithm or the nature of the beast on TikTok. It is crazy. The videos that I spend so much time on, really intricate subtitles, intricate tracing or whatever, everything else, funny edits, tank. And I could do one of just some guy shouting at me and be like, ah, and it's millions of views. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Have you had like what's an example of one like that? Like anything that was like that most shocked you, is like when you thought this is shit, but I'm gonna post it, and then boom.
There is one that I think is my most viewed TikTok to date, and it's a guy. I'm under a bridge on Tarkov and I hear him and he's like, hey, I need scav kills. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a scav. And he's like, nah, come out with your hands up. You're not a scav. And I'm like, I am. Like, even I'm tripping over my own words. You can see the panic on my face. And then I go out and inevitably kill him. But like my aim's awful. You can see that I'm just sort of like, oh, and like, I just thought, oh, I'll chuck it up. That'd be probably like a 50k max. 4.1 million, I think, is on views wise or something. It's insane.
Why do you think that was?
The more I watch it, the more I can see why people like it. And I think it's helping me realize that just like short, sharp, and funny, I think is what people want. As you can go into as much detail and be as intricate as you want with stuff, but if it's not constantly gripping them, they're obviously not going to stay. That's like a main thing anyway. But with this one, I think another thing that made people stay longer is that the guy that was talking to me, you couldn't yet see him. So no one knew where he was.
Okay.
No one knew what he was up to. No one knew what he looked like. And then when I come out and sort of see him, he's like, oh, you want this smoke, huh? And then it's sort of like the firefight ensues. And it's just like, I think it was like the perfect amount of tension.
Yeah.
And the perfect amount of time for the reveal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't just, those sort of things are so difficult to like just plan or envision or like even think about, where like, that you know, like when you've just nailed the perfect amount of, like you said, just like tension and build up, and like not too long, not too short, but like decent amount of time, so that it probably bangs on the algorithm as well, because it's on that like sweet spot of like, oh shit, like these people are actually staying like 20-25 seconds to see this, and then all of a sudden bang, like there it is. How is that, like, has that shaped how you think about content now then? Like with, I've seen some of your TikToks and some of them do really well now. I'm sure you know that like Warzone TikTok is dying a little bit. Like now some of your Tarkov videos are doing well. Like does that impact how you're thinking about what to create in terms of a style, a build-up one, or is it still just like a mixture of different themes and stories, or like
I do still aim for a mixture, just because I think once you settle in or you zone in so hard to one particular niche, getting that to happen repeatedly is near impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's good to have a few things in your arsenal, and some of them do work. Like some of the longer ones do work. There's like one that did really well again the other day. I think that's up in the millions. And I was talking to a guy that didn't have a microphone for about 45 seconds, guessing where he was from, guessing his name. Yeah, and then at the end of it, he's like, hello. I'm like, what? So you did have a like, you know what I mean? Like it's just things like that. But then there are other ones where I'm like, I think a lot of it's the intro as well. So part of me's been considering tinkering with scrapping the intro, but the intro helps establish who it is and you as a brand. But I reckon I could post some of the same videos, but maybe change the first 2-second intro of what I say and how I say it, and I think they do better. So that's something I can look into as well. The ones that have sort of underperformed, if you will, in my eyes, because again, that's all based on your personal barometer of success or whatever. But I think that's something I will try, because there are a lot of videos that I put a lot of effort into, and I think these. It's not like a sense of arrogance, but I think these deserve to get more views than what they are. And I think if people did watch them, they would enjoy them. But the hardest part is getting them to watch them. So I think if I can redo that a little bit, but it's always about having something different. You always want to mix it up a little bit, because otherwise they'll see one video and go, oh, I recognize this face, I know what's going to happen, sort of thing. Whereas if you post a different sort of one each time, that's another way to retain them as well.
Are you taking inspiration from any like Tarkov stream? I know you mentioned Gib, but like, is your are you just like scrolling through TikTok now, like kind of seeing how other Tarkov creators are like creating content and be like, oh shit, like that's a fresh idea. I've never seen someone do that. Like, yeah, just wondering like where are you gathering inspiration from in terms of like, because this game is so vast, like, and you say like you're kind of still at the beginning of your understanding of everything. Like, are you seeing new ideas every day from different people and thinking, yeah, I could maybe try something like that?
Yeah, there is. Like I say, a lot of it is down to Mr. Gibbon, because we're just on the same sort of wavelength in terms of sense of humor, the way we can speak to people and things like that. So you get a lot from that. But it's like I say, I'm as my confidence grows, I think my content management will grow as well, in the sense that I'll know exactly what I can do, what I can get away with, and things like that. So the style won't change, I don't think, unless I can think of something that is really mind blowing. But when you're having a conversation, there's only so much that you can do to keep that entertaining or keep it. There's like one style really. But yeah, I think as I sort of get more long in the tooth of Tarkov and creation as a whole, there will definitely be more ways I can look at sort of not scripting stuff, but like I said earlier, like knowing what I'm going to do and honing in on that and sort of trying to direct people more where I want them to go and what I want the outcome to be, rather than just going, oh, I'll say this and hopefully something happens. So that's the way I'd probably look at it, because there's some amazing stuff I see with like with Tarkov, the amazing gameplay clips don't do nearly as well as like the funny stuff, which is crazy, because it is, when you see good gameplay, it's bloody good. Like, there's a guy called Glorious E. He will just run and jump around everything and just kill everything in his way. And you're just like, and then you watch me play it and you're like, oh my God, it's unbelievable. If I could ever get to that sort of level where I could be like funny about something, then be like, oh, by the way, and then like go in and just absolutely light everyone up. Like, there's always different routes you could go down, but it's just trying to get there and knowing what you want, I guess.
Yeah. How is that leading into like long form then? Are you and YouTube, like what are your plans around that for content? Is it kind of you want to follow a similar style for your TikToks into some YouTube long form, maybe just like longer stories? Just interesting to hear what your thoughts are around that.
Yeah, so I think with YouTube, again, a lot of things I've had to sacrifice a lot of stuff because of work and time and things like that, time constraints and whatever. I've started posting my TikToks onto YouTube as YouTube Shorts, which have been doing really well.
Oh, they're nice.
They've been doing really well. So I'm up over 1,000 subs now. I think I'm up at I hit 1,000 subs towards the last week of July, and I'm already up at 1,500 or something now. So they're growing, but so now I've hit that number. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware, to get to YouTube Partner, you need 4,000 watch hours on long form content. Shorts watch hours don't count; they don't accumulate to that. So I think the content I would like to do is probably just longer versions of the TikToks I've made, because there is so much funny stuff that I have to cut out, because otherwise, I know TikTok allows you to do 10 or 15 minute videos.
You do 10-minute one.
Or something.
I never see 10 like that.
No, and I for one wouldn't sit there and watch 10 minutes on TikTok, because that's not what I go to TikTok for.
That's a lot of pushback with that.
That
idea.
But I think it would just be about not chopping out so much. You could chop out a lot of the filler, but just you could allow for a more detailed and complex conversation and like understanding of how the whole thing unfolded on YouTube and stuff like that, you know? And I think maybe if there was ever anything that was really good that I just couldn't condense down, you could almost make it like a YouTube exclusive or something, you know, to drive people to that platform. But it's something that I'm struggling with at the moment, just because I don't have the time to edit long form myself. And I need to outsource that, but I'm not sort of financially able to outsource that to an editor and stuff yet. So I'm sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. But now the subs are growing, that is the next step for me to get the watch hours growing. So I do need to start putting stuff on there, even if it's sort of like a short form type video, but it goes on for longer than 60 seconds. Because I don't think it'll show up on the short shelf, but you could maybe push people towards it or whatever. Because if you've got over 1,000 subs or whatever, they'll come and watch it.
Yeah, it could be two to 5 minutes, isn't it?
Exactly. So that could slowly pump up some views or something and things like that. So it's about trying to find out how to go about it and just trying to find the time really. But once I sort of get that nailed on, because the growth everywhere else is great. So
yeah, why can't
just hope
why
it
can't you
translates.
find the time? Like what's your week? Like your typical week?
So I work as an Ethernet repair analyst, and I work 12-hour shifts in an
Ethernet
office.
repair
Ethernet
analyst.
repair analyst, yeah.
Well, I know what
So
an
that's-
Ethernet cable. What does that what does that involve?
So basically, in a nutshell, I am responsible for the remote maintenance and repair of point-to-point fiber optic broadband circuits across the whole of the UK.
Okay.
And I work 12-hour shifts in an office in Bristol, which is 15 miles from where I live. So it's a 15-mile drive in at 6 a.m. in the morning, work for 12 hours, and then a 15-mile drive home, so I don't get home till about 8 o'clock at night. If I'm doing that the next day and I want a good sleep, I get home, eat dinner, shower, I'm in bed, up at 5:30 again the next day, we go again. So when I work, I have no time for content or streaming. I used to be able to work from home during COVID. Since that's all alleviated now,
Yeah.
we're back in the office. We're not allowed to work from home. There's no more remote working allowed, which is a shame because I used to stream evenings
Yeah.
and I used to work here. So I'd work there, shut
Yeah.
down, spin round, hit go live. I can't do that anymore, and it takes me a good hour to get back, get sorted, and this, that, and the other, which is onto the reason why I changed my schedule to be on my days off now. But I work, like I say, I work 12-hour shifts, so I work usually 3 days a week. And then the days off I get, I will stream for most of the time 6 hours. So trying to edit TikToks to keep posting, which is obviously my best platform at the moment in terms of followers and growth and stuff, and that's translating quite well into bringing people into Twitch. So editing the TikToks, say in the 3-hour gap I have in the morning, and then in the evening, obviously I've got a fiance, so it's about spending time with her, helping out with whether it's cooking, cleaning, if we're just chilling out watching a film. Like there's so much. People don't realize the sort of sacrifices that go into it and things like that. Like I used to go to the gym quite a lot. I haven't been to the gym in 2 months, maybe more. Just because something had to give, and because this is something I want so much. I think once I get this, I can go back to the gym. You know, like if I can get this to be my routine, and this alone, I can fit the gym in. I can balance everything so much better. But yeah, just with the constraints, I need to probably outsource to an editor and stuff like that, because it's working 12-hour days is tough. And then when you stream as well, there's not a lot of wiggle room.
How come you work 12-hour days? Is that just
That's the nature of the beast.
That's just you're not one of
Yeah,
those guys that's like opening up the green boxes in the street, like
I used to be.
cables. Yeah.
I used to be, but yeah, that was what I used to be, and then I moved to the inside to the office. But the reason it's 12-hour shift is because it's a 24/7 operation.
Okay.
So it's, like I say, it's business circuits, and there could be sort of like hospitals or police stations or something where the broadband goes down and it needs fixing and stuff. Yeah. So that's why.
Okay. And so what is it then that's like, you talked about getting an editor. What is it that you're, I don't want to say waiting for, I don't think that's the right word. Like, what are the next steps or milestones like that you're looking for yourself to start then thinking about editor, and when you get the editor, then what's next? Basically, like, I'm what do you need to do to quit your job? I know there's the finances, etc., but like, yeah, I'm just curious, like, how you're thinking about that. I think it's something that every full-time worker who's streaming on the side inevitably thinks about, like, what do I actually, like, what has to happen? Like, how would it work? Would I go part-time? Would I go quit my job? Like, do I need more money from YouTube, more money from TikTok, more money from streaming? Yeah, like, how are you thinking about that going forward for the rest of the year, like, or 2023? Have you set yourself, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, have you set yourself any kind of goals, or is it just like just riding the wave? We'll see where it takes me.
It's not a case of riding the wave. It's definitely at the moment I am riding the wave, because how crazy everything's been at the moment. I'm just not sure if it can continue at that rate. But
yeah,
it's definitely something I've spoken about. Work, no, I do it.
Yeah.
Work, know that I'm extremely passionate about it. But it sounds horrible to say, because it's not all about the money. But when you're a 31-year-old man with a mortgage and like people that are dependent on you, it is a lot about your money. It is about,
and
I'm not sitting here saying I want like 50,000 subs like Nick Merck's money or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, who doesn't? But like for me to be, because you get people coming in saying what's your sub goals and things like that, and I almost don't like talking about it, because if I'm honest and I'm completely transparent, people will either go, right, let's get you there, or they'll go, oh, that's a bit too steep, maybe you're a bit like, you know what I mean? And it's I don't want to come across as like I'm asking for it, because I'm very, very aware that any income I make on Twitch started as other people's income. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm not one to sit there and say, oh my God, give me your money or this, that, and the other. We have to make this work, blah, blah. If it happens, amazing. Which is why this goes on and stems into the whole like growth thing. And what's next is the fact that obviously I've got my first 2 partnership deals with Alt Customs and Sneak.
Yeah, we'll go on to that. We'll go on to that.
So, and it's just about working from that and evolving, really. I don't want to sort of divulge into it too much now if you've got a question planned on it, but basically, like, you going back to your original point, like, why wait? What's the next step?
Yeah.
I think it is just a case of biting the bullet, really. And just like you say, just finding someone that I trust and that I know that can make the content I want to make and that I can afford to invest in, and then I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's like you've got to find, I mean, it's like, it's a business at the end of the day, it really, isn't it? And you kind of, you got to put in probably some level of money and like you said, bite the bullet, like, and it's a risk. Of course it's a risk, like the kind of fluctuation I used to talk about all the time, like the fluctuations of sub count revenue, because is hard, I guess, and you can't I always try and stress, like, you shouldn't ever strive to that be your main like a huge part of your income, because like you said, when you got unfortunately when you move out of home and you got bills to pay and stuff, like, and a mortgage, like a 50% sub count drop could really affect. But again, like, it's a very sensitive subject, because I think some people don't really understand that, like, this is people's livelihood here, like, and again, you're not then asking them, give me money, but it's like, you understand that this is what I need to support myself, right? And it's like I think it's a very fine line, which a lot of streamers don't talk about it that much. And I wanted to do this podcast because I want to talk about those sorts of things, because it must cause you stress, right? It must play on your mind about making that decision and it not working, right? And that, I guess, maybe leads to, we talked about it before stream, like mental health, like, and the anxiety of not being good enough, not making it, failing, and just it's interesting to hear any thoughts that you've got on that, what I've just said, and how you manage your own mental health.
You're exactly right. It's a really fine line, and this screen here that I've got behind me, I haven't got it turned on, but when I stream, I'll turn that on, and it's got my follower count and my sub count live updated.
That's pretty cool. Where'd you get it from?
It's from Amazon. It's called a Divoom Pixu 64.
Good name.
I think it's called. I mean, I can turn it on if you want to see it.
Go on, turn it on.
So that's
that's it. I have seen that on your stream. I've just not really...
So it shows you your followers and then your sub count. So at the moment, the subs are at 1081, which is crazy. Okay. Like, that's crazy numbers. And you see those go up and up and up and up. But always in the back of my mind, it's like, you're very, very grateful for things like gifted subs and things like that. But then you do have moments when you're like, what if the person they were gifted to doesn't renew? Or things like that. Or what I like to call the subpocalypse, where if you've had a huge investment and a huge growth of gifted subs, or just subs in general that aren't renewed, that when I'm live on stream, I could see 1 minute and it'll say 1,000. I'll see it on the little camera in the back, and then I'll look up again, it'll be 800, and I'll be like, because they do fall off. It's the nature of the beast. They'll fall off. And like you say, to be entirely dependent on that is something that's so volatile. Don't get me wrong, there are numbers that you can hit where you could realistically be like, look, I'm not really going to have any problems here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a fine line of trying to balance the stress of it all, and because you don't, I'm trying to think of the best way to word it, but like I say, you see it go up and it's such an insane high that when you see it go down, you think all those thoughts go through, like, oh God, why didn't they renew? What have I, is it something I've done? Do they not like me? Why has this happened? Is it going to be that high next month? Now it's, you know? So that's something that's playing on my mind at the moment, is that we hit our all-time high of, I think we were on 1,200 and something subs at the end of last month. And like, I'm just thinking, are we going to get there again? If we don't get there again, is that because I've done something wrong? Is that because people are bored? Have they lost interest? So it's just, I think with terms of mental health, is trying not to take anything too personally. And you do have to realize what I said earlier. It's someone's income. They're supporting you because they want to, not because they have to. And it's just sort of like, if they don't want to support you that month, or if somebody no longer wants to support you, or if they can't afford to support you, they've got their reasons. It's nothing personal. And it's just the way, like you say, like the sub revenue works. To go entirely off of that is gonna be a challenge, and that will mess with your mental health hugely, I think.
Yeah, like you said, like there are numbers where you could probably get to where you can then afford a little bit of a hit and still, but those numbers are very difficult to get to. I don't think people realize that. Like, I mean, the sub count and follower and viewership, the ratios are all very, very, I learned that after a few months, like they're all very different. Some people don't have a very high viewership but have like a really high sub count. Some people have opposite, and I'm like, why is that? And it's almost like just like different people, different communities, different people supporting, like, etc., etc. And there's no like model, but like I've always thought, based it off like, okay, what's an average income in the UK? Like 26,000, I think, or so. And like, when you put that into perspective in terms of how many subs that kind of roughly is a month, and you're looking at like 1,500, like 1,500 to 2,000. We'll ignore bits for now, but like, and if you translate that into what is kind of the average streamer on in terms of viewership who hits that subs, that's quite high. That's like, you're looking at 150, 200 viewership, like, consistently. And like, I don't think people realize how fucking hard that is. And that's just to earn an average income off streaming. Like, and people want to do this, like kids growing up thinking, I want to be a streamer. I'm like, you got to work. And that's not a 40-hour week either, probably, when you get to that point. I think that's what people don't realize, is that it's not like a 9-to-5 job, is it? You're always on the job. I bet you, are you always thinking about streaming? Like, you must be, surely.
All the time. And this is what annoys my missus. And it's like, I always say I have to sacrifice some things. And don't get me wrong, the fact that I can balance it a bit better now that I'm in the office and I stream in the days now, I don't sacrifice any evenings. So we can always spend an evening unwinding and relaxing, talking to each other or whatever. Like, I can cook one night, she'll cook another. And we've got that time now, which we didn't have before. That was something that was lost. But I am obsessed. Like, we'll go out for the day and I'll be like, oh, by the way, did you know so-and-so did this? Or, oh, I saw something on Twitter earlier about it. And she's like, what does that mean? Like, to her, she sees it a bit more now because, like I say, this last month has been amazing. And July was incredible. And this month's been amazing as well. And she's sort of starting to take notice now.
Yeah.
But I think it's very difficult for her to see it as work because I'm having so much fun. Like, I can sit here in my dressing gown with a coffee in the morning, slumped over my MacBook, editing a TikTok. And I love it. I absolutely love it, you know? And like, it's what I want to put all of my time into, which is why I struggle with the whole having a full-time job side of things, because I'm just so fixated and obsessed with this that I'm so desperate for it to work. I'm just like, right, I just basically anything I can do, I am doing to progress this career.
What do you think? I guess we talked about YouTube, and then let's talk about the partnerships, right? Because I think we're nearly there. Like, because you mentioned that as kind of one of the next step things in terms of, like, I don't know, additional income, revenue, etc. And I don't know, just getting used to working with brands, right? You don't get that experience, knowing your worth, right? And yeah, interested to hear about. I spoke to everyone, kind of gives their 2 cents. Like, how did they come about? How did you find them? Do you have a plan going forward? Do you want more? And who's like your dream brand to work with?
Sneak genuinely have been who I've chased a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean a lot. They were probably fed up of me, the amount of emails and stuff I sent. But I think
What does that go? What does it mean by you chasing?
Constant emails to whoever it is with a @sneak email address.
What are you
DMs
emailing them?
What was I emailing them?
Yeah, roughly.
Pick me.
Yeah, like what? Just what was like your I guess your pitch, isn't it? Like
yeah, and it's hard because it's almost like a cold call, you know. Like if they haven't seen your stuff, they don't know who you are, so that could easily just go into the spam folder. But it's sort of stuff like, hi, this is my name, this is who I am, this is where I'm from, this is what I do, these are my numbers.
Yeah, I
love your stuff. Want to work together, sort of something along those lines. And the first time I sent an email, I got pushed back. And it was like, we'll review again in like 6 months. And I was like, well, looking back on it, I emailed them far too early. Like I've just been desperate to work for them, but my numbers weren't like at where their other partners were and things like that.
Yeah.
But I was just so desperate. And Sneak are the ones I've chased for a long time. And then when I had an email a couple of weeks back, I was in work when I had the email, and I was just like, oh my god! Like, I just replied straight away. I didn't do any work for the rest of the day.
Did you see the subject? Did you see the subject line? Like, how did you?
Well,
how did you know?
The subject line was a reply to the original email I sent that got rebuffed. So it's still in that whole chain. So the whole conversation is still there. So I think I put it as like potential partnership opportunity ? And then obviously it came back with that again. I was like, why is he emailing me back? And then obviously it was because of that, and I was like, whoa. So that was amazing. And then the guys at Alt Customs, I just followed them on Twitter, followed them on Instagram and stuff, and I just thought their shit looked cool as hell, basically.
What do they do?
They do keyboards, so this is
quite new. A little Diddy one.
Little 60%.
60%, I would say.
60% T1 Pro. It's not plugged in at the moment, so it's not licensed. I've unplugged it.
What switches do you have in it?
Red linear switches in this one. They do red linear switches, blue clicky ones. You get a braided USB cable. You can choose any colorway, any selection, and then the mouse mat. I don't know if you can see it. I've got my dinner on it, so I've got like a black and yellow Damascus. They basically made these to support my rebrand, like my changing colors, which is really cool. And yeah, so like I basically went again the same way. I sent them a DM on Instagram, and I was like, because a lot of the times, if you're not following each other, it goes into like a message requests folder or like a spam bin, basically. A lot of
people don't see those.
So a lot of people don't see it, but they replied like that. Like, so they were obviously like what they saw. And they were like, yeah, let's get it done. And literally from sending the DM to signing like a 3-month contract with them was a matter of hours.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. Assets emailed across, done. It was brilliant.
And what's the expectation on you in that? What do you do in terms of promotion for them?
The expectations in terms of actual contract obligations is just to post when they when they're having like sale days or whatever. Okay. Which I mean, if you're a partner with anyone, you do that in your right mind anyway.
Yeah, cool.
And to make a TikTok video or something once every other month, something like that. So it's not, and that's another thing. It's not stupidly demanding. And the reason I've picked these guys is because they're people that I want to work with, and it's things that I value and that like I feel that everyone would use. If you're a streamer or if you're a gamer, you're going to use a keyboard, you're going to use a mouse, you're going to want cool things, you're going to use an energy drink. Like I wouldn't, and I'm not just saying this to piss on them or upsell Sneak or whatever, but I was so desperate for Sneak that I think even if somebody like G Fuel sent me an email saying, hey, do you want to work with us? I'd have been like, nah, because I want to work with Sneak. Like,
Sneak are a bit more pickier than G Fuel. I've heard.
I mean, it certainly looks that way. But it's about not like I'm not a fan of bullshit. Like I wouldn't. Don't like you see a lot of people that just go, hey, money's money, you know, and they'll take a sponsorship deal for anything because someone has sent them an email saying we'll give you 1,500 quid to do whatever. Like, and this is something you said earlier about knowing your worth. I still don't know my worth, and I struggle with that. So if there's anything for like monetary value, which is the next step for me, is to get a partnership where there's either salary or monetary value in exchange for a service. that is something that will help propel me more to full time rather than relying on just sub numbers for the month or things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think in terms of partnerships and stuff like that, like dream companies, I'd love something with SteelSeries.
Yeah.
I'd love something with SteelSeries. They follow me on Twitch, big flex. Symphony raided me once when I played Warzone, and they were like, "Hey, nice headset," and then they followed me. So I was like, "Oh." So I've been pestering them as well.
When did he raid you?
Oh, this was December last year, I think.
Fucking hell, what was that like?
Mad. And then there was a guy in my chat going, "It's only a raid. Start the customs." I was like, "Mate, fuck off!" Like, but yeah. So that was mad. And even some people that came through with that, like 2,500 people or something came through, and there's still some people that come in and they're like, "Hey man, how you been?" Like what? Like they still come in, they drop to follow, and they still come and say hi. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I just want to be. I just want to be working with the best, doing the best, you know?
Oh,
like,
got to strive for something like that, of course.
SteelSeries, Elgato, like I use all the Elgato stuff, like TC Helicom with the Go XLR, Shure, like anything I use and that I'm proud to say I use it, like why not want to be affiliated with that, you know? Like you pick a brand, you buy a brand or you stick with a brand or whatever because you like them. So I would like if I have something that I think is shit, I'll say. But that's the reason why when I've upgraded my stuff, like when I upgraded, and even to be fair, even when I upgraded my mic, I didn't think my old one was shit. I just did it because I knew this one was like the mic, you know? But like,
they have the best slogan. The mic, the mic you've already heard. I love
that's it.
The mic you've already heard.
So it's basically just striving for bigger and better always, really, I guess.
The cool thing about streaming is there are so many like cool brands like within streaming, like tech and like just like loads of different cool brands to work with that I think are really reputable. But at the same time, like you said, like the know your worth, like I think lots of streamers don't know their worth, and then the problem is that creates a really bad spiral of brands dropping down like how much they pay streamers because they know that actually, well, if you're going to say no, I can find someone same size as you that will say yes. Like, and not just one, they could probably find hundreds of streamers that will be the same size that will also say yes. So I think the whole industry and ecosystem needs to just, I don't know how you solve that problem. Like it's just a big education piece on people being better at knowing their worth within streaming, because I think a lot of brands take advantage of that. And it annoys me big time. But then how do you know your worth, right? If you've got no experience with dealing brands, which like lots of people haven't, how do you know what to charge? Am I charging too much? Like, because then they might say no, and then you're like, oh, fuck, like I've just fucked it with this big brand because I thought I was going to charge 2,000 for a TikTok or whatever, and they've now turned around and said, fuck off. Like, such a big challenge.
Tough. It is tough.
Just going in then, we can start to wrap up. What's like your kind of goals and next steps really? Like, is there anything that like you really want, apart from obviously going full time, right? We just spoke about that. Like, is there anything else that's kind of we haven't already spoken about that's in your head thinking, I want this to happen, or just I'm want these numbers? And I mean, there's nothing wrong with having goals or numbers of viewership, sub count, etc., etc. Everyone's very different with their goals, and I'm just wondering, like, is there anything that for you is outside of the full-time thing? Like, is there something that sits below that? That's what I'm thinking about a lot.
Yeah, so there's always steps, obviously, to anything. Like you say, full-time is the dream, but again, that's entirely dependent on revenue and things like that, and whatever happens. But I think next steps, realistically for me, and in terms of what's recently happened, Twitch partner is one thing that I would really love. And that is something that I always, like, I don't really set myself goals, but I always set higher expectations of myself than I probably should. So I'm very, very hard on myself. So I'll be, like, I wanted Twitch partner within a year. And I mean, after a year of streaming, I was averaging, I don't know, like 30, 35 viewers or something.
Yeah.
But so I was like, I'm nowhere near. and then now the average is going up. But Twitch partner is definitely one that I think is hopefully doable by the end of the year. And YouTube, I do want to try and tackle YouTube, because I think that would be another steady stream of not only potential revenue, but also bringing more eyes to the stream and to Alexander Average as a brand.
Yeah.
And again, that could then broaden the horizons for more partnerships and stuff like that, because people will look a lot at YouTube numbers and Twitter numbers rather than TikTok and things like that. I think YouTube's a real reputable place to be. And like, I know I'm only on like 1,400 subs, but I would bloody love 100k sub play button, you know?
I want one of those as well.
Yeah, so I think it's little things like that, and it's like, I say little things, that's a huge thing, that's a huge milestone for anyone, and anyone that's achieved that should be extremely proud of themselves. But it's having those little things to go by. Like, you get nothing for TikTok. Like, I know people like, do you know The Only Shady and people like that? They've got like over 1 million followers on TikTok, and there's just like no recognition. I think Lucci's got nearly 3 million followers, and he's been threatened with like multiple ban requests because of something that he's not even done. Like, there's no like sort of follow up in that sense. Whereas with YouTube, they're sort of like, oh wow, you've done something really big here. Like, here's this, you know. And I think one final thing for me, which would help with the management side, the progression side of things, is like management. So I'm still quite naive to it, and I don't really know a lot about it, but I've had some conversations with some people, and it takes a lot of weight off of your shoulders, and obviously allows like a middleman to go through with deals, and your manager can say, right, this is what I think your rate is, this is what we'll go to companies with, or whatever. But it's finding like a company, like a management company or an organization or something like that that can do that for you. And it's a lot of networking to try and find that information out, which is the sort of process I'm going through now.
Okay.
And I don't know whether I'm going the right way or the wrong way. Like, I don't know.
What are you doing specifically then? So let me get it straight. You're trying to find a gaming org or a content creation management business an influencer management company, I guess.
Basically, yeah, but it's knowing who the reputable ones are. Because not too many people speak about it. Like, you'll see a lot of people with inquiries and then like a business email or something. Whereas I'm just inundated with so much crap in my inbox. I went through my emails earlier, and I literally had someone saying, "Hello, I need your help with getting a payment of 8.8 million euros, and you can have some." I was like, why am I dealing with this shit? You know, like, I mean, if it's true, count me in. But you know, like, it's just filtering through all the crap and knowing what's worth something. And knowing what sort of is right for me, and I want someone that can help me with that. But it's finding that someone or that team or something, you know. And it's with Escape from Tarkov, I think that's harder to do, because you see all these organizations like, I don't know, Optic, 100 Thieves, whatever, that are all very heavily Warzone with maybe some Valorant or whatever. So it's hard trying to assess where to go and who to speak to in that sense, because as a brand, as a person, I think you could easily place yourself anywhere. But in terms of the content you're going to make and who you want to be as a creator, I think that's where you need to make sure you're going to the right people.
Yeah, because Tarkov Tarkov is not esports, is it? There's no. I guess so. Then there's not maybe as much sponsorship and money going into that game.
They do tournaments. I don't know whether they're an org but it's called Evasion. I think they are an org.
Okay.
They're called evasion.gg. And they do tournaments and things like that. But again, because I'm still so new, I'm still in like my Tarkov infancy, I don't know too much about that, how much about their run or who Evasion are. And the people that are currently in Evasion that are affiliated with Tarkov are leagues above me in terms of ability and knowledge and things like that. So it's just about knowing the right people, I guess, and where to go when the time does come. But I think even if it's not Tarkov specific, if there was someone or some group of people to help me, like, improve myself and my career and stuff, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. One last question. What? Thank you, by the way. Like, the conversation has been great and it's flowed so well. We're an hour and a half in.
Are we?
Yeah, we are. Wait, it says on my recording an hour and a half, so we are. Your missus is going to be thinking whether have you eaten your burger?
No, I've still got it.
Oh, mate, eat it.
No, I'll have it. It's all right. It's fine, mate. It's fine.
You can put it in the microwave.
Yeah, exactly.
what advice would you give to a kind of? I've asked this question in every one of my podcasts, and I haven't got a better one to ask yet. So I'm just gonna ask it. I want to know like what your advice is to streamers who are not at the beginning of their journey, but potentially in the middle, and are, I don't know, struggling. Like they've hit the wall. They have the challenge of streaming is now apparent to them. They've gone through that infancy, like, oh, I love streaming. Like streaming's so great. I want to do it forever. I'm like, and they're like, fuck, this is hard. Just wondering, like, have you ever been at that point, and how did you come out of it? Because you've streamed for quite like a number of years, and there must be some point where you just like, fuck this, like, or you must have had low days. I'm interested to know, like, yeah, what did you do to come out of that? How did you keep yourself going, and any sort of motivation, inspiration, advice piece that you could just spiel out your mouth? Which I'm sure you, I know I've watched you stream.
I don't want to come across as all like cliche and philosophical.
I'll come across as cliche. It's fine.
But like, you have to take, if you find yourself in that situation, sometimes you realize that you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. You know, there are so many people that have started content creation and followed this cookie cutter mold, thinking that it's going to work for them. What I would advise is to think of the community you've built. Think of something that you all enjoy and that your common ground and things like that, and what has worked for you to get that far, and then really sort of just map around that and be like, if you were to, you just need to put yourself in like a viewer's shoes, or if you were something thinking, if I want to go on TikTok now, what do I want to watch that's really funny, or what do I want to watch that I think, wow, that's amazing, you know? And it's something as simple as that can spark like something, and you think, oh, actually, hang on. I've got the ability to do that. I've got the community to make that happen. Or like, yeah, you could, and then all these ideas just start coming out. But again, like, and that from that sort of move comes just always be yourself. Don't conform to this. I have to make loadout videos, or I have to make this, or whatever. And you might drop views, you might lose followers, your interactions might go down, but I can promise you, if you are doing something that you enjoy in front of less people, the whole experience will be 10 times better than you doing something you fucking hate and feel like you're stuck in, to more people that can see you fucking hate it. Like, just why people sit there and play games to, like, and I was guilty of it. I would sit there and play a game that I did not want to fucking play. Like, I used to start every single one of my streams with marbles. Do you know marbles on stream?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's fun every now and then, and like, it's great. But I used to play it because it would bring 30 people in at the start of a stream, and people would play, and then it'd be like, they're in now, let's go and do Warzone, and they just fuck off because they're not there. They're not there for Warzone. They're there for marbles, you know. And then I'd just be sat there like, oh, they'd be like, one more race, yeah. And I'd be like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, go on. Like, I've only got 3 hours to stream, and we've been on marbles for 90 minutes, you know. Like, it's just one of the, just play what you want to play, do what fucking makes you happy. And if you see a hit from it, which you might, because you've been in this cookie cutter mode that has done something for you, I guarantee you, if you're happy and you're making content and you're pushing it all out on all other socials, that's another bit of advice: make content and push it out everywhere. But as long as it's content you want to make, and it's something you think that people would want to see, or you want people in your community to see, and invite sort of same like-minded people in, then just do that. That's it.
I love that.
That's it.
That's it. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. I wish. I'm sure everyone wishes it was as simple as that. Well, Alex, it's
I
been.
got some in my teeth.
I don't know.
Sorry, I thought I had something in my teeth.
I don't think so. Just before we go, like, where can people find you? Like, what is socials? I will of course link them in the description. And what days and times do you stream on?
This is the one thing I hate, is that I am not consistent with a day because of work commitments.
Wait, you haven't got a schedule?
I haven't. This is the thing, right? So, I am live from 12 p.m. until 6 p.m., right?
Any
what day? Depends. But it's
When
it's
do you know?
usually-
When do you know? Like when you're.
I know, this is the thing. I know I can post in advance, and I post it in my Discord. So in my Discord server, I'll post it, I'll tweet it out or whatever. So it'll be on my socials anyway. But I can't expect people to learn my work shift to know what my days off are. It's not fair, and I barely know it most of the time. But I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/AlexanderAverage, from 12 p.m. midday till 6 p.m. UK time. And I am Alexander Average on all my other socials, bar Twitter, because the name's too long.
Oh, too long.
Yeah, so it looks like my name's Alexandra Virage on Twitter, because I had to cut the E out at the end of Alexander. But if you type Alexander Average in, you'll find me. So yeah, just Alexander Average everywhere. Come and say hello.
Cool. Well,
Give me a kiss.
I'd love to. Well, it's been great having you on the podcast.
It's been awesome, man.
Thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, and it's just been great to just such an array of different topics there that I'm hoping lots of people will find that useful. Other than that, any last words? All good.
No, just thank you so much for having me, mate. It's been a pleasure. I've had a blast.
It's been
good fun.
Been my pleasure. Well, hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Go eat your burger.
Yes.
Go and sit your missus, because she's probably thinking, where the fuck is he? And I'm sure we will catch up soon. And good luck with the stream. And I hope things carry on.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
See you later, bro.